guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as you can probably guess from the title, is going to be my January wrap-up / my February TBR. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. January was slump central for me. We pushed through, we got some books that we really enjoyed. So without further ado, let's get into part one, which is my January wrap-up. Okay, so like I said, I was in a bit of a slump, so I ended up reading 3 books, but we're not even going to justify it, we're not even going to apologize for it, because I just wanted to make sure that I was reading for the sake of just reading, you know, having a good time with it, rather than just to get my numbers up. I read a total of 3 physical books, but I'm going to say 4, and I will explain that in a little bit. And I also did 2 audiobooks, both I absolutely loved. So I'm just going to quickly talk about the audiobooks. The first one was His and Hers by Alice Feeney. This is the first work of hers that I have experienced, I guess, because I didn't read it. And I was really glad to have listened to the audiobook, because there's something about thrillers being audiobooks that really captivate me, especially when the voice actors are like really good. And I actually gave this one a 4.5 stars. The twist was pretty wild. It had me guessing constantly. It was one of those things where I would listen to the audiobook on my way home and would still want to carry on listening to it even after I got home. I was so entertained for the entirety of the book, and it has definitely made me want to read more of hers. The only thing is now I don't know whether I want to read them or if I would like to audiobook them. Listen to them. That's what I meant. I gave that one a 4.5 stars because it was just absolutely brilliant and highly recommend. And then the other audiobook that I listened to was just like this really cute Audible original book, I guess, audiobook. It was called Call Me Maybe by Kathy, oh my god, what was her name? Kathy Baston. And that was so cute. It was a quick one, it was an easy one, it was super just lighthearted, and I just really needed something like that. I gave that one a 4 star as well. I think the voice actors just really bring up, like, just elevates the experience, right? So I had a great time with those 2 audiobooks in January. Let's move on to the physical books now. So when I said earlier that I read 3, but I'm going to say 4, that's because for the year of 2023 and hopefully onwards, I want to make sure that I read 1 non-fiction book every month. And that's because I didn't really read any last year, and I do remember how much I genuinely enjoyed non-fiction books, because I feel like you do learn a lot from them, and there's just so many topics out there that just sparked my interest. And yeah, it was just a shame that I didn't really get back into reading non-fictions as well as, you know, just reading in general. I found that reading non-fiction books at the moment is not as enjoyable. No, I'm not gonna say enjoyable. It's not as entertaining for me as when I read fiction books. Obviously, I think, you know, it's a lot, one's very informative and one is for entertainment. Again, I was in a slump, so I ended up giving myself this whole thing where I allow a week buffer into the following month for me to finish the non-fiction book that I am reading. So I finished this non-fiction book literally 2 days into February, I'm pretty sure, 2-3 days into February, and I'm gonna count that as a January read. So without dragging on for a lot longer, the non-fiction book that I picked up was Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is the second time I've actually read this, but I think when I read it the first time I wasn't really like annotating or anything, whereas now I don't know if you could really see, I annotated a little bit. Although there's a lot that I dog it as well because I forgot my tabs. So I'm going to go through those anyway. I really enjoyed this book in the sense that it's very straightforward. It's very practical. It really helps you figure out how to apply the theory into real life. What better month to read this than January, the start of the year? Duh, if you didn't know. I gave this one a 4 stars, and I gave this one a 4 stars, but yeah, Atomic Habits. Okay, so the first book that I actually finished in January, I think I read half at the end of December, then the other half in the beginning of January. It was The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which, you know, it's a 5 star. It's a 5 star for me. It was definitely very slow, and it is a whopper at 629 pages. Yeah, it is a huge book. I mean, it doesn't really look like it, but the contents of it require a lot of attention and thinking, in all seriousness, this is not a light read. This is not an easy read, in my opinion, but boy was I entertained. I just really do enjoy dark academia books. I think I've said that so many times before, but I thoroughly enjoyed this and highly recommend if you haven't yet. Okay, because I was a little bit burnt out from reading such a big, fat, serious book, I needed something super light to just get me back into like the balance, and I picked up Sarah Adams' When in Rome. I have never read any of her books. I think she has, I mean, I actually bought the cheat sheet because I absolutely loved this book. I gave this one a 4 stars because it was just so entertaining. I breezed through it. It was a really cute story. It was very Hannah Montana-esque of famous pop star, you know, small town boy. And yeah, I just absolutely devoured this because it was just so cute. And there's nothing better than a really easy, enjoyable read to keep me out of a slump. And this did the job. Did it though? I feel like if I didn't read this, I probably would have not continued reading in January until I kind of come out of a slump. But this just kind of hoisted me back out just enough. So yeah. And then the last book that I read in January was a 4.5 star read for me because I am one of those girlies now, and it is Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. As you can see, I literally like tabbed one thing because I don't think there was much that I wanted to tab anyway. Maybe I'll go back to it and annotate it, whatever. But I was so entertained. I read this in like 3 days, and that's really quick for me considering I was in a slump. I absolutely loved this. This was so good, and I cannot wait to dive further into this universe. I don't really know what I make of Lily and Lo yet, but I enjoy their story in a sense that there's enough drama, there's enough kind of, you know, romantic drama, family drama, friends drama. Like there's so much going on, but I am so here for it, and I can't wait to, yeah, read more of the books. So yeah, this was a 4.5 star read. Alright guys, it is now time for my February TBR, and I'm being so what's it called? Ambitious about this because I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books here. But I don't think it's going to be that difficult to go through these 8 books, and I will tell you why. Well, first of all, one of the books I'm literally like halfway through already, and it's literally like the 4th of February when I'm filming this. But these are all books based on love, and they're all romances, and I am a sucker for those. I love them. I find them super easy to read, but also a lot of the books that I have here are also books that I cannot wait to get hold of and have heard nothing but brilliant things about. So let's just get into it. So I'm going to start with the nonfiction book that I will be reading in the month of February, and that is Conversations in Love by Natasha Lunn. I absolutely enjoyed Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton, and a lot of people kind of compare these with each other. So I can't wait to get into this. I do have the hardback because I got this from a charity shop, but like, look how pretty this is. Like, look how pretty. Yeah, Conversation in Love by Natasha Lunn. I'm going to put these over here. So the book that I'm currently reading right now is Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. This follows our female character Phoebe Walsh, who basically has to empty out her dad's house, but she thinks that her neighbor is a serial killer. I'm not going to say anything else about it because honestly I'm halfway through and I am still guessing, but I just needed some sort of romance with a bit of a twist, and the true crime bit kind of gave me the twist that I needed, and yeah, really enjoying it so far. So the next book I have is actually my book club read for this month, and it is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. First of all, absolutely beautiful cover in general. Second of all, I've heard nothing but great things about this. And third of all, this is my little brother's book that I borrowed from him. Like, I love that him and my sister are also in like the reading era. It's really cute that we get to like swap books around, and there's books that we both want to read. Like, yeah, anyway, this follows, I'm pretty sure, Sadie and who is the boy? I want to say his name's Sam, but I don't know if that's his name. So it follows our two main characters, and I think they kind of bond over an experience that they had in a hospital when they were younger, and they grow up to make this video game together. And it's kind of like a love story, But I think this is going to also make you cry, because every single person I've seen review this have said that not only is it great, but it kind of breaks your heart a little bit too. So I cannot wait to read this. A lot of people say that this is a 5-star read, so we will find out. I'm gonna do 2 lots now. So the next 3 books are going to be my like easy romance reads, and the first is Book Ton of Feeling by JC Lee. First of all, can we just appreciate how cute this cover is? Because nothing screams Valentine's more to me than red and pink. Like that is the duo for me. I'm pretty sure the story about this is she is like a hotshot lawyer who's just so stressed because she just needs to make partner at her firm. She's super stressed. She's in the city, so she's gonna come back to her small town where she meets small town boy. But the thing that really excites me about this is that they work together to like revamp this old bookshop. I love reading about people who are like in bookshops, like if they work there, they spend their time. I love that aspect of it, because it's kind of like Inception, right? I can't wait to read this. It sounds really cute. From what I've heard on the grapevine, these next 2 books are a little bit spicy. So we have Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. This, I'm not gonna lie, is a bit of a chunk because it's like 360 pages nearly. I just saw they have like a playlist. I love when books have like a musical playlist. That is literally my jam. I did that with Addicted and loved it. Absolutely loved it. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that with this, it's like a relationship of convenience. She is desperate to get engaged because in order to like keep her like a family home or inherit it or whatever, she has to get engaged within certain days, which I feel like is so weird. Not certain days, like certain time. And then I'm pretty sure he's like a hot Dr. Phil, and she like goes on his show, and because they're like kind of enemies, they're like back and forthing with each other, the ratings go up. And so he's like, you know, be on my show because the ratings are like so good when you're on it. And she's like, okay, but that's if you pretend to be my fiance so I can get the house. I'm pretty sure that's it. Imagine if that was just like not even it and I'm just talking shit to you guys. But yeah, apparently this is kind of spicy and kind of love it. Kind of love that. So yeah. Next we have My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. I actually am so excited to read this purely because, again, I need romance, but I need romance with a bit of a twist. And I'm pretty sure that the female character in this finds a dead body, and then he's like a bounty hunter and he's trying to find the killer or something like that. But I think she's meant to be, I think it's like a bit of Grumpy Sunshine, honestly. I think she's like this really cutesy, I think she's a teacher. Yeah, she's an elementary school teacher, and he's like this broody bad boy. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say to you apart from, oh, also apparently this is spicy too. And there's only like, I'm pretty sure it's like just over 300 pages. No, just under 300 pages. So hopefully this will be a nice quick read. So the next 2 books I have, I am so excited for because, well, I'm going to just show you and talk about them. We have Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. A lot of people love this, like to the point that it's their favorite book. But a lot of people say that they really couldn't get on board with it. And I'm so curious to know as to how people are so divided about this book. But I've heard really great things about this book, so I'm obviously going to find out for myself. So the synopsis suggests that she is already engaged to somebody else, and she comes back to her small town and meets kind of like the one that got away, I suppose. But it's giving like the Notebook vibes, you know? It's giving the Notebook vibes. So yeah, this is also in my predicted 5-star read, so I will be doing a reading vlog. Well, now it's a spoiler because The Secret History was also in it, and that was a 5-star read. So hopefully you guys aren't lying with your reviews, because you guys didn't lie with The Secret History, so please don't lie about Love in Other Words. Okay, and then the last book that I have here is Ricochet by Kristen Becker Ritchie. This is book 2 in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. Guys, I know that there's like not that many books in the series, and I think I'm going to try and do one a month so that I'm not like, you know, binging it and then just not being part of that world anymore. But I am so excited because if you know what happens in the first book, you realize that this will be quite different in a sense of the dynamics, and I'm just so excited. But I'm trying to like do it so that this is like a middle read or like an end of the month read. I don't know, but it's definitely going to be read. So excited. I can't really tell you too much about this because it's a second book, and I feel like if I tell you like what's going on, it's gonna be a bit of a spoiler for the next book, because I'm not gonna lie, someone did that for me. And yeah, Loki, I was a bit like, oh, okay. But it's not that deep, but I just don't want to, because I just don't want to spoil it for you just in case. But just best believe we will be reading Ricochet. Okay, so these are all the books that I read in January, and these are all the books that I will be reading in February. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please do subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!
Bye!